Hi everyone, it's Enoch Miller, your Empress of West Hollywood, here at the amazing White Rabbit Partner Studio with also our other supporters, GayLifeLA.com. We want to thank them all for the amazing work they do to let us have this amazing studio here today. And we're also here with our amazing guest, Nick Dent. Hi, Nick.
Hey, what's up?
Not so much. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
And for those of you who don't know Nick, I mean, Nick's an amazing, he does modeling, he's an actor, he does film, television, he does a little bit of everything, and some other fun stuff you'll find out later on that we'll talk about as well. But Nick, you were originally from Salem, Oregon, and you frequent LA very often, like at least like once a month or so often, and so you're an LA regular. What can you tell us about growing up in Oregon? That's kind of what you notice is really different from being here in the LA West Coast area.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I grew up there.
Uh-huh.
I think it's pretty good that the slower pace, good family values, at least with my family, and I think in general with the community there.
Okay.
So it kept me a good base.
Okay, it's a good foundation.
Because if I had been down here full time back then.
It would have been a whole other story. We'd have rehab stories instead of the fun ones. But no, I mean Oregon's gorgeous area. It's always very beautiful around there. Lots to see, very scenic. Kind of what is your overall favorite aspect about Oregon, just as a whole? Obviously, like you said, the family values, the good ties to family there, with everything. But what would you say is kind of your absolute favorite thing about Oregon?
I would say probably the coast,
Okay.
or some of the mountain ranges that
Okay.
I just checked one out. A buddy took me out to Mary's Peak the other day, and we could see 400 miles.
Wow.
We saw like Rainier and Shasta and St. Helens and all these just going.
Well, especially Shasta. I mean, a lot of people from LA actually go there. It's considered a very spiritual journey to go up to Mount Shasta. I mean, it's one of those places. It's serene, and like you said, it's just this awe-inspiring view of just everything around you. So again, let's switch over to the West Coast area. What's your favorite thing about maybe LA or just kind of the general South California area? Like, what do you really like about here, and what kind of draws you out here, other than doing stuff for your career?
Oh yeah, other than that, the weather.
The weather. We've got some good weather, that's for sure. Although lately it's been shit, and I hate it, and I'm tired of this gloomy, gross blah. I know it's fall, and everyone's loving the fall and the cooler weather because it's been a really hot summer, but I'm personally I like my sunshine. I don't mind if it's like 70, but I'd rather have my sunshine.
No turtlenecks.
No turtlenecks, no. I'll bring out the pea coat every now and then because I want to look like a badass, but other than that, it's like I really prefer like you said, like the weather, like the nice like weather that we grown to know and love. So what in the initial part of Nick growing up kind of drove you into or inspired you to get into either modeling or fitness? What was the kind of your initial inspiration, or was it just some circumstance that kind of popped up that kind of brought you into it?
I think I started working out at about 15 years old.
Okay.
And just before that, my brother on his 12th birthday got like a camera, so we'd film stuff, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger was really big in my mind. And I just thought, if I could just get as big as I can, then I can't be ignored.
Right. That's true. Well, no, it's true, honestly.
But no, that's you don't want to. That shit's
no, I don't want to be that
healthy.
Well, and it's a lot of strain. I've heard of people that do the intense professional bodybuilding. It's a lot of strain on your body.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, just intense workout. And I mean, probably during that time, it's when Schwarzenegger was doing the whole probably Mr. World and all the different stuff with that. So, he's very prominent. I worked with a guy who did the same thing, and big bodybuilder, and it's crazy to watch. But so really, then that being your initial inspiration to pursue bodybuilding, what shifted it then to pursuing a career in modeling? Did someone approach you, or kind of how did that all start out?
Yeah, so I was doing started working out at 15, and then around 20, I think I did my first amateur bodybuilding show. And a couple friends of mine, we'd work out together and go do the shows, and over a span of a few years, I must have did 5.
Oh, wow.
And one of them I did up in Washington, and got a call. I was still living at home with my parents, and I got a call. There's this photographer on the phone. He wants to talk with you. My mom hands me a phone, and then I go and talk, and it's pretty cool. I've never talked with a photographer before. Photographers calling me. You know? He says, I was there scouting out. I saw you at the show, and he said, would you like to get in Playgirl? And that's, I think Schwarzenegger was in Playgirl, and you had all these other people that graced the covers.
Playgirl's a no joke kind of magazine. I mean, everyone's like, oh yeah, Playboy and all that stuff, but Playgirl, I mean, they do a lot of stuff, and it's honestly a great way for men to show off and have a chance to have people appreciate their physique. And I mean, it's a very popular magazine. So he calls you, he offers you the position. What was your initial reaction to all that?
Oh yeah.
You're like, hell yeah.
Fuck, man. Yeah, it was but he ultimately never got me in Playgirl. I didn't get in Playgirl until like 2009.
Okay.
Their last 2 issues.
Okay.
Of the physical magazine.
Got it.
But he started me out doing 2 Mandate Torso, Freshman.
Okay.
All those other ones that are no longer around.
Right, yeah. I remember Freshman back when, oh God, I'm going to say back in the day. Fuck. I'm getting old. I remember Freshman back in the day, and I was in high school. Jesus. And then so those kind of really kind of launched you into actually doing now, you're doing modeling and you're doing print photos and you're doing all the different stuff with that. Did you continue doing shows anymore with bodybuilding, or did that kind of fall away once you started doing photography with the modeling career?
Yeah, well, I had to stay in shape with doing the adult work.
Right.
With Randy Blue. So I kept working out, but it just wasn't the focus.
Got it.
My sights then, and ultimately the main reason why I kind of agreed to coming down here and getting deeper and doing videos, it was a stepping stone. Okay. And it's always been that, I wanted to get to LA, even if I had to suck dick.
Right.
I'm gonna get. Right.
You're like, I'm gonna make it one way or another. And honestly, and so because it's a really interesting part you bring that up, because I mean you were an adult film star for I want to say like 5 years ish, like 4 or 5 years, something like that. You started around 2006 time frame, and then it kind of blended in when you were doing a little bit with the stuff already for the photo shoots that you're doing for, like you said, for Freshmen and the different stuff with that, and then eventually to Playgirl. So this whole getting you into the adult film industry, what kind of led you into that aspect? And because initially it was women, and then it became the doing stuff for gay porn. And so really kind of what was the whole direction of that, if you can lead us in, let us know how that got started for you.
Yeah, so from getting into the magazines, and those I started in maybe like the end of 2002 or 2003. And then after they came out, it took a little while for them to come out. Pictures, it wasn't digital. He was still working on.
Oh, so he was still doing like old school like film and like putting out prints and all that stuff with that.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And that was Ron Lloyd.
Okay.
He was pretty well known, and so he got him out, and I did some solo videos with him too. Okay. Body solo. And after they started coming out, I got a call from different groups. One might have been Corbin Fisher.
Okay.
And then Randy Blue Eyes, talking with Randy in person.
Mm-hmm.
And just going back and forth, I just got such a good feeling from Randy.
Mm-hmm.
He was really genuine, cared about you, that you knew the ins and outs of this is going everywhere.
Okay.
People are going to...
So he really sat and said, hey, like, before all this is A, B through whatever, and this is exactly, where this is going to be seen, who's going to be seeing it, how you're going to be putting yourself out there, and really kind of just laid the whole industry out, basically, for you.
Yeah, let forewarn you. It's going to go everywhere.
You've been warned.
Yeah, but no, that company was so good. I mean, Randy was so awesome. And just working for him, the whole crew,
mm-hmm.
he knew how to pick good guys and mm-hmm. good models and good workers.
So I know you had said in interviews before where you were initially like a little apprehensive about doing adult films because you were doing with women first, and you didn't want to do that because you didn't want to feel like you were cheating on your wife, because it was like, again, the money's not great, but it's okay. And then with gay porn, it's actually, I think it's like the stats are like 5 times the amount you make for some people, regardless of doing regular straight porn. So what kind of is like the difference in the industries from your perspective? Because I mean, I don't really understand how one is different than the other and why they feel like, I mean, they pay so much more? Could you kind of, like, if you could explain that a little bit as to why the straight porn industry is a little more different than the gay porn industry?
Yeah, I did, up in Portland, I did with that Cletus Van Dam. My buddy helped me come up with that name.
I love it. Cletus Van Dam.
No one really knows about that one. There was only a dozen films. They just paid a few hundred. So it was, compared to with Randy, I mean, it was something like 20 times more.
Yeah.
But it's different. You don't get treated the same being a guy.
Okay.
In straight porn, it's about the girl.
Got it. Well, that makes sense. It's all about her putting on the show and doing all the scene and doing all the stuff, and it's really, people are looking for the girl to kind of put on the show, and the guy's just kind of there to help along, really. Yeah. So that makes sense with that. And so where you feel like with gay porn, it was more like a 50-50, you were actually putting in effort, or you were actually kind of getting the recognition of being involved in it, or kind of like what was that with there?
Well, I was just able to perform well, and then ultimately it kind of came down to good work ethic, being good on set, and respecting people, and just ultimately just the good true traits that make you go far in any industry. Another
that's the thing is, you don't hear this a lot from people that will actually say, I mean, you treated it like a professional career, and you treated it like it's not like this, I'm here doing porn. No, it's like you treated it like it's an actual job, and really you showed up for work, you did your job well, you treated every other people that you worked with well, you had good relationships, and like it seems like you built some really good relationships especially through Randy Blue. What was the most challenging part of because again, you're a straight man doing gay porn, so what would you feel was the most challenging part of all of it for you? Was it either the perception of people around you, or just kind of something that you were like still having to wrap your mind around, how do I do well, perform well, while still like not like letting that like, oh, it's a dude, and like not letting it fuck with your mind and actually doing your job?
I think at the beginning when I first got in, that was actually a selling point, was that it was a straight guy doing gay porn. But over the years, I think it kind of just flipped, and then people were against the straight people doing the gay porn.
I find that really weird, because it's like whoever does it, you don't care. You're just there to, honestly, you're there for the product. If you like the product, awesome. Who cares who they are, what their sexual preference is? You enjoy the show, And so what do you feel from a fan or a consumer standpoint, what did you feel like was the biggest stigma that you would get from people like that?
Well, I get that question so often,
No, I can imagine.
Are you gay or straight?
Right.
And I usually don't like to answer it. Or if I do, I'll say, everyone varies, you know, the Kinsey scale.
Yeah. Everyone's 50 shades of gayer.
So, and I don't necessarily want to be put into a box or labeled. I don't think anybody really likes that.
Yeah.
But so it's just you do what you do.
Yeah, and I find that true. And honestly, I know we've talked about this with lots of guests before, with the fact that it's like, especially the LGBT community, we like our labels, we like our boxes, we like this person fits here and this person fits here, and there what your role is. And quite frankly, we're discovering nowadays with sexuality and sexual orientation, there is no black and white anymore. It's all in between, it's all mixed around, and people discover new things as they go, or they discover, oh, I like this, or I don't like this, or I thought I didn't, but now I do. And so people are now like really discovering themselves and going back to that exploration of like, what is sexuality, what is identity? And it's really interesting, because that's true. No one needs to identify one way or another nowadays, because again, we find out that it's not black and white with all that. So going forward, you've really kind of expanded through that and kind of pushed into now doing regular film and television. What's your favorite part of doing stuff with film and TV?
I love seeing the finished product.
Okay.
I love
all it. Hard work paying off.
Yeah. And it's there forever. It's just so cool to work really hard on something, and then it's there forever. And that's really great. And telling a story. Story's really big, and that's what I like a lot about that.
Awesome. And you've been in some really cool, like some of the television stuff you've done, like one of the shows I really liked, Leverage, which was a big deal. Some film things you've done. You've done Chillers 2 and 3, Extraordinary Measures, Slapped the movie, and Happy Birthday. And then you've actually even done a play as well, some commercial stuff, and industrial. So let's talk about some of these different industries because, I mean, you kind of have a wide range of film and television experience. What would you say is the difference between doing stuff and filming it for like a movie and then filming it for TV? Like, what would be the compare and contrast between those two for you?
Yeah, TV moves a lot quicker.
Okay.
Things are much faster pace.
Okay.
They got to bust out more content, more episodes.
Got it.
Film, it depends on, usually a little slower, but depends on is it independent? Is it low budget?
Okay.
Is it a higher budget one? And then that, I love the grandiose, scale.
Uh-huh.
But it's also cool to do like Chillers 2 and 3, that was just done with 2 guys and a camera.
Oh, wow.
you know.
So like super low key, but it's still like a great product. And that's what's always interesting when they have these amazing movies what they did with the minimalist of minimal sets, and it's just basically some guys and cameras and a few other little things here and there and just making it work. What was your overall favorite aspect about Chillers and everything you did with those 2 movies?
Yeah, the third one I had the lead role, lead vampire.
Lead vampire. Because he went from detective to vampire.
Yeah, detective was in the first or second one, and then but the third one hasn't came out yet.
Okay.
It's still being edited right now.
Got it.
Cut up. But that was I really liked that one. That's my biggest role yet.
Okay.
So I can't wait for it to come out.
Well, right, especially being a lead. Is there any kind of like sneak peek about it you could give us, or are you still like under contract? Like, what can you like say? Oh, people, you want to look forward to this, if you can say.
There might be a Van Damme ass shot.
Ooh, I like it. Everyone's doing the Van Damme ass shots nowadays. I swear to God. Hulk's done them. I mean, Ragnarok, I feel like Thor's done 50 of them. Spider-Man did kind of one. So, ass shots are the new it today for television, so I love it. Okay, so that's good. So if you want to wait out for Chillers 3, when can people see that coming out? Probably think within the next month or so, sometime early next year.
Yeah, sometime, hopefully in the first quarter of next year.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So check out first quarter of Chillers 3 with a Van Damme ass shot, which is going to be awesome sauce. And then also let's go to the things you've done for commercial, because commercial is a whole other beast in and of itself. What do you find was either the fun part of commercials or the most challenging part about commercials in your perspective?
Yeah. The latest ones I just did was I did some car ones.
Right.
A Lexus one.
You've done.
Honda,
yeah, you did a
Buick.
Brick Autotown as a car owner. You've done stuff for the Oregon Lottery, and then for Hyundai as a customer. So what? And you did Lexus. Oh, even better. So what was really the hard part? Because, I mean, commercials, they have a specific idea in mind. You've got to meet A, B, C, D with whatever their vision is. How do you really kind of push into a character development something that's really not what you're developing as a character, but what they're like specifically asking you for? How do you kind of meet that criteria for the director or whoever is bringing you into that specific commercial?
Yeah, I think if you, which I do with all my roles, I just get the text, the words just ingrained first. And with commercials, if you're just happy, pretty much. You're happy and laughing and you good smile. One of the car commercials, they're gonna put sound over it, so they didn't need us talking on one of them. Okay. On this section of the video, the commercial. So he's like, just talk about whatever. And you could cuss and just.
So you're just saying whatever it was, and no one's like even noticing.
Yeah.
As long as you did it with a smile.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Just tell each other jokes. We're just talking dirty jokes and shit. Okay.
And so just really just shooting the shit, but all the while it's just like happy, howdy, blah blah blah, like pretty music. And so other stuff you've done with this, and like you said, when you have this process of developing a character, kind of like you said, you ingrain the material and the text into memory and everything with that. kind of what is a general way of you going about doing a character or come up with an idea for one of like your videos? What's your kind of your work process through all that, and kind of walk us through how you develop something like that?
Yeah. So I think with a character, getting a script, I try to do 4 hours per page.
Okay.
And
shit, that's a lot. Holy crap.
It gets up there. But it's what you got to do. You got to know it. It has to be a part of you. And I'll start out just memorizing as rote with no inflections or no intonations.
I got it.
Just speed through it as fast as I can.
I got it.
Just going back from the beginning till I get everything, so I can blow through. 15 pages within like minutes. Just speed reading. Then after I'll do that once I get to a point where I can get all the way through. I'll do it again with I have this funny method I've came up with. I have these 2 peacock feathers, and then I'll balance them while having to speed through it, and then sometimes on this bushu ball as well, balance on that too.
Oh my god!
So then when you have it, and you can speed through balancing these at the same time, then you know you have it.
Okay,
then
so
you know
it's like
just
this
so
whole
in you.
Physical, mental concentration of it all, of being able to dual purpose your mind, and like I can balance at the same time while I'm still processing and pushing through all these lines that you have to go through. That's actually really interesting. I've heard some unique methods, and I think that's the most unique one I've heard of yet. And they're like, are they like just like the standard like peacock feathers, like the little ones that are, well, not little, but like you just
pretty long,
the long ones,
few feet.
Okay.
Yeah, but it works so well because when you can speed through and you have it, you're balancing both of them. It's awesome. And the other cool thing though is when you do read something, you could read it 1,000 times, and every time you'll catch something different.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, exactly. Oh, and also there's like, I mean, when you're doing a lot of these things, you find out, oh, you may have realized you said it one way, but then it's like, oh, you realize it's actually better if you say it this other way, and how your tone does and all that different stuff. It's really, I mean, you really always discover something new every time you do it, and it's pretty cool. When you really kind of moved on to doing now the stuff for TV and film, what did you feel was going to be maybe either the hardest struggle for you, or kind of what are your biggest hurdle that you were going to have to do in order to like kind of get out of the stuff from the past and moving on to an actual professional career in this of doing TV and film? What did you feel like was the biggest kind of either landmark or hurdle you had to kind of overcome to get to this point in your career?
Well, definitely doing the adult work.
Okay.
I'd like to think that it's more lenient now over the years, which it is. But I mean, just the whole sexual thing and having that out there is still kind of tough to get past.
Do you feel like it's kind of, I don't want to say necessarily a shadow, but it's kind of in a way hovering over anything or everything you kind of move forward on? You always have to wonder if someone's going to find that in a background or find that in whatever. Is that kind of a looming thing?
Yeah, but it is. But I feel like I hope that I can be, one of the first that can really just jump and jump the boundaries and get over that and have people not, know I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
I have honest goals and dreams.
Right.
And I try hard. And that's what you have to do. You have to just show with action.
Got it.
You know what?
Kind of the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
But it's true, though. I have a couple of friends that are also in the porn industry, like Brandon Wild, who's a really good friend of ours. And he's the same thing. He's trying to move on and do more of a DJ career and different stuff with that. And he's like, it's hard to get out from under of it when you're so used to it. The money's really fucking good. And then it's all this other stuff. You're like, oh my gosh, like, how do I kind of get away from it? It's hard to kind of, you got to, like you said, you got to really just put in the work. And when they see the work there, that's kind of when they're like, oh, I see what you're really about, and this is who you really are as an artist and as an actor, and then they appreciate you more because you're willing to put in the work and put in the hard effort. So what would you say with doing the stuff now has been the most passionate thing? Like, what would you say is your favorite thing to do? Is it TV? Is it film? Is it commercials? Is it music videos? What if you had to pick one of these things that you could continue doing? What would you be your absolute passion out of all this?
Feature length films.
Feature length films.
I think that's just where that's it.
That's the goal.
Everything else is you're just living on.
Okay.
And so you can be a part of the community too, and meet more people. You do as much as you can.
Yeah.
But there comes a point where you have have to set standards. Like, I won't take roles that are smaller parts.
Okay.
Because once you accept, or once you ask life to pay you a penny, life's going to pay you a penny.
Well, that's true. And also, too, I mean, it's like if they start sticking you and seeing you as one type of actor, and you kind of get niched into one specific market that you don't want to do, sometimes you're screwed. Or you'll have a lot of these people, or it's like you get in this small role that's a role that's still maybe a recurring role, but it's still one that they just kind of see you as that character. I know a lot of people that have done multiple series and has been a specific type of character for a long period of time, directors and producers, and they'll kind of only see you from that one performance, and you kind of get niched into this little market. So in doing feature-length films, was there any kind of category you really want to fall into more, whether it's like drama, comedy, romance, sci-fi? Like, is there one specific genre you kind of want to fall into in that category specifically?
Yeah, there's one. Action hero.
Action hero, yes. So we're gonna have him line up for the next role of superhero, right? Well, and it's funny I love that he did that, because it brings up another thing that you're really passionate about, which is karate, which I find was so cool. And it's kind of one of those random things you find out with someone, you're like, oh, it's such like a badass thing that's just so kind of often left field. Like, oh, you do karate as well. What really draws you into a passion for karate, and kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so I started karate at 9 years old.
Okay. So you've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, well, I took a little break during high school.
Okay.
With wrestling and stuff.
Okay.
But started at 9, went 9 to 12, took a long break, and I just bumped into my sensei, my original sensei, about pushing maybe 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So then I got back in it, and I love. I remember going through as a kid, just going through the black belt magazines, or watching Walker Texas Ranger, Chuck Norris and the Van Damme movies, and that's so that's huge. That's like the pinnacle for me. That's what I'm set on.
So he'll be in the next movie with Jackie Chan and Chuck Norris. We're going to have that come up later, which would be amazing. So the great thing about karate and what you do with martial arts in general is the fact that, the discipline it instills in you, and just the aspect of really control over your body. Kind of what was the hardest thing, or just the most challenging thing of karate for you that you were like, that was like either really intense, or it was a certain type of workout or move or whatever, or a different belt level? Like, what was one part in doing all that you felt like, oh my god, this was like really, really tough?
Just the sheer amount of training.
Mm-hmm.
You have, again, just like a script, you have to know the kata, the form that you're doing on the floor, in and out, backwards and forwards. And
those can be long sometimes. I've seen some people do like one that's like 10 minutes long.
Oh yeah, and you're always learning that till the day you die.
Right.
Because there's just, with a way a foot moves, or an angle of a knee, to put more power in through the hip. There's and with we have some great senseis up, and Sensei John's awesome, and he'll kick my ass all day long.
And this is out in Oregon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then our head Sensei Yoshida, owns Yoshida Sauce. He's pretty cool. And where there'll be training sometimes on like summer out at his place, karate camp, and there'll be 50, 60 black belts.
Wow.
All training in the field.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Feeling is just so awesome.
Mm-hmm. So what was like really the pinnacle of it all when you started doing karate? Like, what was that when you reached a certain level? You're like, dude, this is freaking sick, and this was like the coolest thing I could ever be a part of. That you're part of this community and this family of these individuals that are all like-minded. What would you say was like when you reached black belt, or when you reached a certain level where you're like, dude, this is so cool?
Yeah. Well, the organization I'm currently with, I'm a second degree brown belt.
Okay.
So they don't give them out pretty easily.
Oh wow.
Like it takes a while.
Okay.
It's not karate for kids.
It's not karate for kids. I've been to that before. I like karate for kids. It was fun. It was easy.
And so now my tests, when I go and test, like I have to I have to spar against black belts.
Oh, wow.
Like 10 black belts to go up in the brown belt ranks.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's a pretty grueling test.
Yeah, and do you
came out with many black eyes?
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. And that's what's like always terrified me about that is like I know I'd like get smacked right in the face. And this is the moneymaker, people. This is the pretty thing you like to see. But because it's all intense training. It's grueling. But it's definitely rewarding overall. What would you say would be the coolest part about doing karate and what you do? Is it the community? Is it just the people you get to work with, or is it just the training itself? Like, what do you feel is the most beneficial thing you get out from doing this on a regular basis?
Communities definitely. I mean, this is a great group,
Mm-hmm.
Ryobukai group. On top of that, I would say it's good to know what's in your back pocket.
Okay.
Walking around, what you have, if you need it.
Got it.
Of course, you don't want to have to use it.
Right.
And when you train with people all the time, you know how it could hurt.
Right.
So you don't want to hurt people.
Right.
But it's nice to know it's there.
Got it. So it's aware of your own limitations and aware of your own strength kind of thing. That's really interesting. Do you do competitions at all, or any kind of like meets or I don't know what they call it?
Yeah. There's
competition?
competitions. Yeah, definitely do. I'll do competitions doing the katas, the forms, and sparring
and
too.
Sparring. Okay. What's the what's your favorite? If you have a favorite kata, like what's one that you'd say like what people would maybe know or people in the karate community might know as your favorite one?
Well, I think my favorite one is the one I'm training, the one I'm learning.
Okay.
And there's so many katas out there. So my favorite one is the one I'm working on. I'm currently working on Konku Dai and a Nanku.
Okay.
So they're pretty long, a lot of new angles, new moves.
Yes. Oh yeah, I worked with an MMA fighter who showed me how to do that with like Taekwondo, and I was just like, "You're wanting me to do what for how long?" I'm like, "No, I can't move and stand and do, it's too much." But it's honestly it's a really interesting what people do with this because it's just the training and just the mental preparedness you have to have for a lot of this. It's really it's freaking intense. I mean, I don't begin to understand all the work that goes into it. So in doing kind of all this stuff and like a lot of this preparing you with the karate and with acting and modeling and kind of the background you've gotten to of really kind of honing into what you are as an individual for your career, where do you see this kind of taking of either shape or form here within the next year or so? Where do you see Nick Dent being in like the next 2018 coming up? Like where do you see the progression of your career?
Well, at the moment, I'm focusing on. I just finished a script with my friend Clyde.
Okay.
And we're shopping it around right now.
Okay.
If hopefully we get some bites, and the next plan would be to just fund it ourselves.
Got it.
Get some associate producers to kick in some funds, and we have some already raised.
Okay.
So we're going forward.
Awesome. So it's really just kind of once someone kind of gives you a little bit more of the green light to go, you're like ready and rearing to go.
Yeah. Now this first one, originally the production company we started, my brother and Clyde, well, two of my brothers and Clyde, they really like horror.
Okay.
So we were kind of going that direction, and that's what this first, our second movie, but the one we're doing right now, it's like a futuristic action horror.
Okay.
So there's some karate at the end.
So is it like not like full on slasher film or anything like that? It's just more like creepy kind of like horror in the sense of like I'm trying to think of one that's not a slasher film, but they're all slasher films nowadays. Like is it more kind of something along the lines of maybe American Horror Story, or is it something a little tamer than even something like that?
It's slasher,
okay.
But it's not necessarily a person that's causing it.
Oh, ooh, I like this. Okay, well, we'll definitely try to have you back and have you tell us more when we actually get the film rolling, because that sounds really cool. And I'm a huge horror film freak, so I love scary movies. My partner doesn't, and he hates me for it, but I love it. But it's also really fun with that. And you also do a lot of stuff now, too, that's a really kind of a fascinating industry now that's really budding for OnlyFans. And for anyone who doesn't know that, OnlyFans is a section that you can do on YouTube and also social media feeds where it allows for some naughty content to be allowed for you to pay for extra that YouTube or Twitter or Instagram may not allow or permit. And a lot of people I've seen really launch their financial careers through this because it's really becoming this new trend, and you don't have to do anything super explicit, you don't have to do anything super over the top, and it doesn't have to be this crazy production of something. It's really just you either working out or hanging out with someone else or just doing other like random stuff you would do on a regular basis. What do you feel has been like the coolest part or the most rewarding part of doing an OnlyFans page?
Oh man, it's so great. Yeah, and you know, Brian Hahn got me hooked up with it and kind of showed me the path, which I'm so grateful for him doing that. Mm-hmm. But it's really great to see the people will pay monthly for you. Yeah. It actually feels good.
Well, and it's really, you're not having to do it, like I said, it's not another porn production. You don't have to go through this crazy studio or production company. It's you're your own boss with it all, and it's all your own kind of how you want to roll it out. What do you feel has been like what you had to get used to? Like, did you have to learn how to do editing more? Did you have to do feel like with becoming a film producer now almost basically? How did you work with getting all these new hats you having to wear to actually put out a decent product with that? What was the kind of like the hardest part of the most unique position you had to add on to your list of things you already do to make good content?
Well, everything else I was pretty much doing. I was doing the filming and the editing already. Okay. So that was, I mean, I'm pretty good with the editing. And when I get into it, I can just sit there for 8 hours and not eat because I'm just so into it.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, you can get totally sucked in. I've seen people do that, and they'll just because they get going and they just get ready. So, what would you say would be the most unique part you had to learn in order to produce this?
With the music videos, the naked music videos, I had to download a Logic Pro X. Okay. The audio program. Yes. Because Brian, he took me out to a really nice studio. Right. And I watch things and I'll pick up. Uh-huh. So my first time in a professional studio, I see what he does with the songs and doing the sound engineering. So then I went home, got the program. Okay. And started to learn that.
Got it. And Brian we had on just a couple weeks ago, and he's such a sweetheart. We love Brian. And actually, he was saying, I did talk to him not that long ago and told him you were going to be coming on board. He said there was a funny story he had of Nick's been in 2 of his videos. One was a Chainsmokers parody, and the other one was Katy Perry, where you guys did the roulette. The roulette, yes. And you guys were, it's kind of like you were in a boxing ring and doing stuff with that. And he said the funniest part of it was when you guys are like doing all the choreography of like you were like had each other like by the legs and like were rolling around, and how quickly you picked up some of the choreography like that. He's like I love watching Nick now because I watch him and how he picks it up so easily, and I focus on how he does that and follow after him. So, but he said it was the funniest part of trying to figure that out, and you just figured it out so much better than he did. And he's like, damn it, at least it took me forever, but Nick got it right away. But it's great, and it's actually really fun because like it's those parody things, you do that enough to have like the tease part of it all, but it's still just a fun production. And it's, I mean, 2 guys like goofing off, like in the Chainsmokers one, you're dressed up as superheroes, and it's just like fun, like spinning around. I think he was locked around your waist, or you locked around his waist, and he was spinning around.
Like, yeah, I had him because it really showed his butt well.
Right, of course it does. Brian likes his ass, that big old ass. But yeah, that's right. So you had him, you were like spinning him around, like he's like flying.
He tried me first, but he was tipping over. Okay. So he goes. So I tried him, and I just balance, from doing so much karate. Yeah. I spun him around pretty well, and that his butt really popped up. So he's like
happy with that. Oh yeah, he was totally happy with that. I can tell.
He tried to get that on the billboard, like a still from that, but they wouldn't allow it. Really? Because it showed too much ass.
Like you can show too much ass in West Hollywood, please.
We were bars. Right. We were filming out on Matador Beach in Malibu. Oh, okay. We were there for maybe 7 or 8 hours, and we're in these thongs. Right. And there's this Japanese tourist group, 30 people that come up, and then there's this Spider-Man scene where I lean back and kiss him.
Oh, right.
And while
because you're hanging upside down from the thing. Right.
Yeah.
The whole Spider-Man kiss thing. Right.
While I'm doing it, there's this little Japanese girl looking over at Spider-Man and Batman.
And they're like, she's like, what's going on, Mommy? Mommy's like, you'll find out when you grow up. So besides the movie that you guys are working on and you just finished the script with, what else can we expect for Nick Dent coming up in the future here for 2018 besides the film?
Yeah. The film's
the big one?
The main thing. Film, more OnlyFans stuff.
Okay.
More naked music videos.
Got it.
So that's kind of the main thing.
Awesome. Well, we're really excited to have you here today, and we really appreciate you taking the time to come speak with us. Everyone, if you haven't seen Nick's stuff, you can also go to his social media feeds. Across the board, it's the Nick Dent, and you can check that out over there on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And then you also can go to nickdent.com, or what is it, thenickdent.com, and nickdent.us as well. I'll all get you to the same place. But we also want to thank our producers here for White Rabbit Partners and also for GayLifeLA.com for helping us have this amazing show today. We're really excited next week to have Ryan Casada, who's an LGBT musician and a transgender activist who will be talking a lot about the transgender music community, which we're really excited to talk with him about. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We'll check you out next week. And remember, have a great time. Bye.